Dear friends, welcome back to the channel. Very good afternoon to you guys all out there, wherever you are on the globe, on the continent of Africa, in Europe, in America, Canada, Australia, or right here in Southeast Asia. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. This is Salon's blog. And guys, breaking news. Stay glued to the end. Breaking news. Chelsea have been charged by the FA with 74 breaches of their regulations. 74 breaches of their regulations. Chelsea, my club, your club, the Blues, the Kings of London, have been charged by the FA with 74 breaches of the regulations. Yes. On football agents, working with intermediaries, third-party investment in players, and look, it ranges from 2009 to 2022, and primarily between 2010 and 2011, 2015 and 2016. Chelsea have until 19th of this month, that is next Friday, to respond to the charges. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not just last week. It was released that Man City were cleared of all of their over 100 charges and were asked to pay a fine. If Man City were cleared and were asked to pay a fine, what about Chelsea that self-reported their own issue? This new ownership, the Clearlake Capital, the Clearlake Group, Todd Boehly and Co., they reported it. FA never have any idea. And mind you, these were issues that were there before this new ownership took over. It is under the Roman Abramovich era, which of course we know Roman Abramovich. Yeah, the best owner of a football club we have ever come across. He did it all for the club. He took all the risks for the club. We were winning and winning and winning. So no Chelsea fan can blame Roman Abramovich. And as a matter of fact, if this current ownership had not reported it, I don't think the FA would even have any clue. Listen, 74 charges were issued against Chelsea. Agent regulations, J1 and C2. Intermediaries regulations, A2 and A3. Third-party investment, A1 and B3. Misconduct, 2009 to 2022, mainly 2010 to 2016, and response due by 19th September 2025. Remember, let me repeat it again. Manchester City had over 100 charges, and all those charges, they were only asked to pay a meager of funds. Listen, I'm not bothered, but let me point out this. You see, as it is right now, I want to elaborate a little bit on this issue. It is a breaking news. It's disturbing, mind-blowing. More on Chelsea's 74 charges for breaches of agent regulations under Roman Abramovich era, not under this current ownership. These are historical charges, self-reported by Chelsea during due diligence before the Clearlake Boehly official took charge. These were self-reported issues that Chelsea reported itself before the new ownership took over, or during the time of the new ownership taking over. You can imagine, if I commit a crime, do you think I will come to the police and report my own issue? No. But when I'm buying a car, and I love the car, and I really want to make sure that tomorrow I will not have any issue that it was a stolen car I'm buying, I can go to the police station and make a report. I'm buying a car from Mr. Timothy, Miss Michaela, Professor Dr. McDiamond, Toby. I'll make a report that I'm buying a car from this source, and I'm paying this amount of. This is what Chelsea did. Ladies and gentlemen, major majority of the breaches are between 2010 and 2016. Chelsea have opened up their books to the FA. The Premier League are also running a concurrent investigation. Issues predominantly relate to agents' payments not being correctly reported on the books. We know Abramovich sometimes he can buy a player and the agent will say, okay, Manchester City, they also want the same player, or Arsenal want the same player. But if you can pay me extra, which is off the books, I will let you have the player. Off the books, you have the player. And therefore, what do? Roman Abramovich has an account, offshore accounts, Bahamas, and all those offshore accounts. So it's okay, never mind. I'll settle you from the offshore account. And that is what he does most. He will settle those agents from offshore accounts, and those deals will not be recorded on Chelsea books in London. So it's not going to be part of their expenses. The man loves the football club. He enjoys his football club. When Chelsea are winning trophies, he enjoys. It's a hobby. It's like Chelsea is like a pet to Roman Abramovich. So giving it the best massage, the best treatment. Now, this new ownership, they reported it by themselves, not that the FA find out. Chelsea have hired one of the big accountancy firms to analyze the breaches. They do not believe there has been any sporting advantage at all in these deals. They buy players, they do not pay bribe for Chelsea to win a game against another club. No. So it's not about sporting breaches. They do not believe there has been any sporting advantage and will argue no sporting sanctions is necessary in this case. Now, punishment can range from a fine to a settlement to a sporting sanction. This is where the sporting sanction, why it came like, because it's not even feasible. How can there be a sporting sanction that will deduct point from Chelsea? No. This is what happened in the past era, and Chelsea reported it by itself. So I don't think this sporting sanctions should be even included here. Cleric Bolek Group, very transparent in alerting relevant authorities to the breaches. As at now, ladies and gentlemen, so Chelsea fans, stay cool. There's no news. There's no big deal. There's no big deal. Nobody should be alarmed. This is, and if Man City could settle this easily, then what about Chelsea? And meanwhile, when we were taking over, when this new group was taking over, they set a huge amount of money aside for settlement of some of these issues, as if they know. So there are funds available for settlement if Chelsea have to pay a fine. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we enter into the fourth week of the Premier League season, this weekend, there shouldn't be any match, or there shouldn't be much to bother about. Now, let me just say this. Plans for our new stadium, Stamford Bridge. Are we leaving Stamford Bridge, or we are going to stay in Stamford Bridge? Are we going to Earls Court, or we are still staying? New stadium rehabilitate. Are we going to rehabilitate the old stadium, or we are going to break it down, rebuild a new one, or we are moving to a new site? Chelsea ownership, the latest news that I received quickly, it can be confirmed. I can confirm to you that secret documents were unraveled. Yes, that Chelsea are planning to break down the Stamford Bridge and rebuild it to a capacity of 60 to 63,000 seating capacity. Yes, CPO, that's Chelsea pitch owners, will not stand in the way for a rebuilding of Stamford Bridge. It now all up about the money for a 60 to 63,000 capacity stadium to be built. There are secret documents, yes. Maximum 4 seasons away from Stamford Bridge if this plan is to go through. That means that Chelsea could be playing their games at either Wembley, Craven Cottage, Fulham. Twickenham, yes, and like I said, Wembley. We have to choose between Wembley, Twickenham, or Craven Cottage. That is Fulham's park. Ladies and gentlemen, but right now, as it stands, plans for a 63,000 brand new Stamford Bridge is underway. It's a secret document. Ladies and gentlemen, it is what it is. It is what it is. The secret plans of 63,000 Stamford Bridge. Chelsea Supporters Trust Chairman, Mark Meehan revealed. He said, I've seen plans to build a 63,000 seater Stamford Bridge on the existing sites. That will make us the biggest stadium in London. Not in UK, but in London. How much is Tottenham Stadium? I'm not too sure. But if Chelsea is to build a 63,000 capacity, that will be the biggest in London itself, not in the UK, ladies and gentlemen. So we will delve into that on a later day. But quickly, ladies and gentlemen, before I let you guys go, Manchester City have 13 players at risk of missing the derby versus United in the next week. And not just that, with Napoli and Arsenal also looming. 13 players are injured in this before the international break and during the international break. 13 players of Manchester United are at risk of missing out in the next 3-4 games. There is a huge injury crisis for Guardiola. Well, there they are, the list on your screen. Ryan Cherky, Ryan Ednore, Marcus Bettinelli, Josko Gvado, yes, Abdulko Kusnova. Forgive me, my tongue, I don't want to bite my tongue. Rico Lewis, John Stones, Phil Foden, Matej Kovacic, Nico O'Reilly, Calvin Phillips, Savino, and Omar Mamosh are all injured. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just end it here. I'll be back with more exclusive. More is coming up as the weekend is approaching. I'll see you guys all in the next one when you see me. Shalom and peace.